Okay, hi everyone. People are coming in now, so really nice to see that. Thank you so much for joining us today to learn about our experiences of the workplace project. My name's Laura, and I'm skills lead at the Business and Growth Unit. And Chris Stevens is here as well. Chris is head of business support, also at the Business and Growth Unit. And we've also got Jamie Williamson here as well today, who is Careers Hub lead, and all of us in the Swindon and Wiltshire area. And so we're going to let Chris talk to you now as an introduction. Then you can hear from myself and Jamie later on and learn more about our specific roles in this. But yeah, just to welcome you to today, and I've seen a list of the registrants and the places that you're representing, and we really appreciate your time and the fact that this is something you want to consider to get involved in. So really appreciate it. Okay, thanks, Chris.
Good morning. Thank you very much indeed, Laura. And just to extend that very warm welcome to you all on the call today, particularly given it's rather gloomy and wet, certainly here in Wootton Bassett, where I'm based. And I just want to kick off by saying, again, a thank you to you and congratulate you all for being curious, for joining the call today and being curious around providing crucial workplace insight to our young people via this experiences of the workplace program, which you're going to hear a little bit more on the detail later on. As Laura says there, my name's Chris Stevens. I'm the head of business support at the Swindon and Wiltshire Business and Growth Unit. We say Swindon and Wiltshire because we cover two separate local authority areas, whilst we are still one county. And I'm really just going to provide a little bit of background on who we are and what we do, if you like. And I'm conscious that leading up to the call today, that you've probably heard lots of different pieces of terminology, program names and so forth. So hopefully I can just help with plug in a few knowledge gaps that you may or may not have around how things are structured. So Swindon and Wiltshire Business and Growth Unit, Growth Hub, Careers Hub are all things that you will have heard of leading up to the call today, or indeed if you've engaged in support historically. But now the three of us and these programs, us on the call today, we're ultimately all employed by Wiltshire Council. To give you a bit of background, local enterprise partnerships, as we were formerly known, were formed under a government directive probably about 15 years ago or so now. And we have the core function, if you like, or purpose to access, draw down, and in some cases lobby for sums of government money, support the lobbying for sums of government money to invest in programs and projects to bring about our sustainable economic development. We're one of 38 LEPs, or LEPs as we're fondly known, being Swindon and Wiltshire. And today we've invested somewhere in the region of about £450 million of public sector money in those said programs and projects, such as, and they would typically be categorized by infrastructure, so roads, rail, buildings, bricks and mortar, and revenue type programs. And we've been invested heavily in skills. When I first came into the organisation, I was a business skills consultant working on a provision called Higher Futures, where we were driving higher education take up here in Swindon and Wiltshire. And so that brings us to the Growth Hub. So the Growth Hub, if you like, is our flagship business support program. It's had longevity here in the Swindon and Wiltshire Business and Growth Unit. And the Growth Hub's core function is to provide information, advice, diagnostic and signposting to our SME community. And an SME is determined by any organisation from 0 to 249 employees. So sole trader up to that larger scale. And that typically is indeed the scale that we're often supporting. And we're delighted once again to be collaborating with the Careers Hub. Some of you on the call may have recently engaged with the very successful Insight Days program, which you're going to hear a little bit more about later. And we've submitted an evaluation for that program, and we were the only region in the country that were piloting that, and we are hopeful that given its success, Insight Days will be rolled out nationally. So we keep our fingers crossed. So you are part of some pioneering careers provision in that sense. And really, before I pass the baton over to Jamie to tell you a little bit more about the Careers Hub, I just want to leave you with a thought, and that is that in Swindon and Wiltshire, we have a very unique challenge, and our unique challenge or position is that we are the only region in the country that doesn't have a traditional university in its bricks and mortar sense, a traditional university in its own right. And therefore, we experience challenges around higher education and often careers related provision, because people will complete their compulsory education and then leave to pursue university and then may indeed not return to Swindon and Wiltshire. So we all have a responsibility in raising the aspiration and the awareness of our higher education provision, and to try and retain and indeed attract talent through really strong and beneficial careers related provision. That's all from me. Thank you very much indeed once again. And Jamie, I'll pass over to you now.
Thank you very much, Chris. Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie Williamson. I'm the lead for the Swindon and Wiltshire Careers Hub. So like the Growth Hub, there are careers hubs all across the country. There are 44 of us. And so I have 43 colleagues I can draw on to kind of get best practice and ideas and things going on in the world of careers. And what we're here to talk about today is experiences of the workplace. So this is changing and is changing fast. There've been lots of drivers for this. COVID was one. So everything changed during COVID and hasn't really gone back to where it was. But we now have a really kind of critical driver, which is new government policy coming about all young people having 10 days work experience between year 7 and year 11. And that's not something we've had before. So we are about increasing the capacity within the system. So increasing the capacity of schools to be able to kind of get more young people out on work experience, but also increasing capacity in the employer community to be able to offer more work experience opportunities. And the way we're doing that is not just to say, right, everybody now needs 2 weeks worth of work experience. We're looking at different models that bring new people into this world. And so that's what I'm going to share with you now. So I'm just going to share my screen so that I can share with you a number of the different models that we are looking at bringing on board in Swindon and Wiltshire. So can everybody see that one okay?
Yeah, we can see it.
It's now in full screen mode, Jamie. Yeah, that's
fantastic. Good. Okay, so as you can see here, there is quite a lot of choice in how you might want to offer work experience, and all of this is now possible. So if you see on the bottom row there, you can see the individual placements. So that's your traditional work experience. So that's your 4 or 5 days, someone job shadowing you at your desk, or out and about doing whatever work it is that you do, but very much a one-to-one placement. And those things still exist. So most of our schools do have a 4 or 5 day work experience placement in year 10, and that will continue because we're not getting rid of those, we're building on it. So if you are offering those, thank you so much. We know they're really difficult. We know they're challenging. We know that they do kind of put a burden on an employer. But if you have found a way to make that work for your business, thank you so much, because it really means a lot. What we're now going to do is build another 5 days around that. Or not around it necessarily, before that. So we're looking at starting some work experience younger, so that by the time they come to do that 5 days, a little bit of the risk has been taken out in that they maybe have explored a range of different industries. So if they do choose you for their 5 day work experience program in year 10, there's a better chance that they are choosing something they're really interested in, that they're going to really kind of contribute and enjoy their 5 days with you and develop some skills that are relevant to your business, but also their career aspirations. So There's a load of different models we're kind of testing. We have tested and are ready to kind of roll out. So we can explore a few of these. I've put these arrows on to kind of give you an idea of what you as an employer get out of these placements. So the individual placement, I've put quite far along the deeper engagement arrow, because you get that real connection with that young person. And some of you, I'm sure, if you've done this, will have examples of that actually becoming a long-term thing, where that individual comes back to work for you when they finish their compulsory education. We know that lots of people invest in those work experience placements because that's what they want. They want someone who's going to get to know their business and come and join them once they finish their schooling. So really good engagement, but in terms of reach, it's low. You're really looking at one at a time. So if you as a business are thinking about wanting to reach a broader number of young people, so perhaps you're in an industry that's not well understood and you really want to get out and meet lots of young people and help them understand what you offer and the skills that you need, you could do that through a talking assembly, but actually you could also offer some really meaningful work experience just delivered in a different way. So if I go back to the left, so we start with group visits. This is quite a simple one to organise. So it would mean probably a minibus size group coming to your workplace, having a look around, meeting a few people, coming with their teacher, so they're all supervised, back on the bus back to school. They can be quite short and sharp. Some schools run these as workplace safaris, so they might in a day do 3 or 4 visits around the local area. So easy to host, easy to manage, not a lot of setup. Nice way to show your business off to a lot of students, or at least a minibus size group, but it's probably only going to be short. But you know, as an introduction to a workplace, it's a really valuable thing, particularly for those younger students. So we're thinking about sort of our year 7s and year 8s who've never really been out into a workplace, showing them what an office looks like, showing them what a factory looks like, showing them what a retail environment is like behind the scenes, is really, really valuable. So that's something you might consider doing. If we go up from there, I guess the greatest reach that you can possibly have is putting on some virtual work experience. So there are organisations who can help you with this, to set up a work experience programme that is all online. So in a previous role, I ran a virtual work experience programme and we had young people from all over the country that we wouldn't have been able to access ordinarily. It was an amazing thing for us in terms of reach and getting our business known amongst young people across the country. And even internationally can happen with virtual work experience. So if you're really about getting your business name out there, people understanding what your sector does, virtual work experience can be a really good thing to tap into. So if we move up now into sort of deeper engagement, so kind of really making it a bit more tangible and a bit more about skills and a bit more about tasks, then we have a couple of options here. So at the top are our Challenge Day projects. So something we developed in response to coming out of COVID and some of those businesses who said we used to offer work experience, but now we can't because our way of working is too different. So these are opportunities for you as a business to go into the school and offer some work experience. Some people call them enterprise days, and you might have been involved in that kind of thing. So the idea is you go into the school, you present your business, you present the kind of skills that you need, you introduce them to a range of people. So you might, have a manager and an apprentice who go and talk about their different roles in the business. And then you set those young people something to do. So this is where it becomes meaningful work experience, is because they have a task, something they need to do. You can be part of that. You can stay and mentor them, or you can leave them to it and let them get on with that with their teacher's support. But we can help you to design those challenges to make sure they're pitched at the right level, they focus on the kind of skills you want, and they lead to something tangible, and then your role as the employer is to give the young people some feedback on the back of that about the skills that they have developed as a part of that. So that's a really nice model that works for a lot of people. It particularly works for people who struggle to have young people on site. So in Salisbury we use it with a lot of our defence industry, because they really struggle to have young people on site. They can go to a school and they can meet loads of young people. So you can tell us how many people you want to meet. You can do a full year group, keep 280 young people working on your task through the afternoon is something we have made work. So the Challenge Day projects are something I'd love some more of you to get involved in, because they're really valuable and the schools really value them. Just down from there is volunteering opportunities. So if you have opportunities for young people to come and do a one-off project with you, or even an ongoing thing, if you've got a wild area and you need somebody to come and do planting, if you've got a creche and you need somebody to do a painting a mural, these are some of the things we've seen happen before that have been offered as volunteering opportunities under the work experience banner. So we make sure they're really meaningful and those young people are getting something that they can effectively put on their CV. That's what this work experience is all about. Something on an early CV to say, I have worked for an employer, I understand the world of work, I have skills, I have demonstrated them. Moving up from volunteering opportunities are the Insight Day projects that we're so proud of. So we took the Challenge Day model that had worked really well and moved and stepped it up a gear, which was taking it into workplaces. So the model is the same: a quick introduction to your business, something about the skills, a project that they can work on, and some feedback at the end. But on Insight Days, it happens in the business. So we have that extra bit of authenticity, that it's happening in the workplace, that they're kind of feeling the buzz and the culture and everything that you offer at your workplace. It's lower down on the reach, because obviously it's usually a smaller number. It's kind of how big's your conference room is usually the first question, because then we know how many young people we can bring to you. But Insight Days have been so successful, and we ran the pilot of those last year, and we're so pleased with the results, and they've been picked up nationally, and people are really interested in what that looks like, and how we managed to make them meaningful. So that's great, and we'd love more people to get involved in offering those this year. Moving up to the sort of the deepest engagement you can possibly have in terms of building a relationship with a young person that will then want to come and work for you, or at least in your industry. The two options that we've put on here are regular placements. So if you're aware of T-levels, T-levels are equivalent to A-levels, but they're very vocational based. So they do 4 days in college, but they have 1 day where they need to be working, unpaid placements. So if you have an opportunity where a young person could be with you every Wednesday, for example, then our colleges would love to hear from you. Those are so valuable. The young people actually need them in order to pass their course. They're a non-negotiable, so we do need the capacity. But there's some wonderful stories of people really making these work, getting some great stuff out of it. You know, a young person's perspective on something that you need happening in your workplace. We've got some great case studies of people doing really worthwhile work for the business during their T-level placement. So if that's something you think you might be able to offer, that would be amazing. And the last thing there, on the really strong engagement, is supported internships. So if you haven't heard of these, they are specifically for young people with SEND needs, so special educational needs and disabilities, and it's effectively an unpaid sort of work trial. So they come to you for an agreed amount of time on a placement with a view to them joining you long term, but it's a two-way trial, and to start with they'll be very much supported by their job coach or whoever, their carer or whoever they have working with them, and that the idea is over the course of the supported internship that support goes down, so they get to be the independent member of staff that you would want to employ at the end of it. So those are the options that we are currently exploring within Swindon and Wiltshire, and we would love more people to help us test them out. We are not proposing to kind of leave you to do any of this stuff on your own. We have the Growth Hub team and the Careers Hub team available to support you to design them, to evaluate them, to pitch them correctly. We just would love you to kind of put your hand up and say you'd like to do something in this space, and we can help you test it out, try it, get those links with local schools and get it moving this year. Okay, I think that's me done. Shall I stop sharing, Laura?
Yes, please, Jamie, and thank you very much.
No problem, and I shall hand over to you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so and with all of this, we know a lot of this, well, a lot of this is just new. So not only is it new to you, it is new to the whole sort of work experience climate. You know, things like virtual work experience and things. A lot of people, Insight Days, Challenge Days, a lot of people haven't heard of them before. So what we're trying to do is just is let everyone know that these opportunities exist. You might have thought before that getting involved with work experience or giving young people an opportunity wouldn't work for you. So the whole point of this is that there could be something that works for everyone, and we want to support businesses to be able to do it. We know that there is a big ask on businesses, so we're trying to make it easier, we're trying to make it valuable, and so it works both ways basically. So and as Jamie said, it's just that you're interested, and just that there's no obligation. It's just to learn more about it, because they're very different opportunities, and there are different people to talk to, but we want to be that one place where you can hear about all of them and say, oh, these 3 options might work for me. Then you find out more, then you see if it suits you. That whole journey, if at any point it doesn't, there isn't an obligation. You haven't signed up for something that you can't, you know, that isn't going to work for you basically. So we just want to share it. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen as well quickly. Done this a million times, but still every time I do, fills me with anxiety that I'm not going to be able to find it, or it's not going to work. Okay, so okay, so so experiences of the workplace. So we have in our capacity, like Chris has explained earlier, we are all about businesses and economic growth, but we have worked alongside Careers Hub for ages. We've always been huge champions of their great work, and we've always recognised the importance of careers education alongside that economic growth and businesses. I'm personally skills lead at the business and growth unit, so I already advise businesses day to day on apprenticeships, T-levels, everything like this. So and apprenticeships particularly were my background before this role. So when Jamie and the Careers Hub came to us, approached us with this project, I personally jumped on it because I thought it was a brilliant idea, and genuinely have loved the whole thing. So so like we said, we started with the pilot for Insight Days, so it's great that we've been able to open this up, and you've heard about all of the other opportunities as well, but I have sort of focused on Insight Days because that's really what we were doing last year. So what we did is we actually surveyed our business community. So Careers Hub came to us because we know the business community in Swindon and Wiltshire. We talk to them every day. We have a big network. So we actually asked them what they thought about work experience. And really what the key themes that were coming up were many businesses wanted to provide work experience opportunities, but a lot of them weren't in a position to do so. Some of them lacked the knowledge on how to go about it. Some, you know, there was a theme of confusion as to what work experience was, how it was different in different opportunities. Also, what kept coming up was that recruitment generally was coming from connections with the employer on a who you know basis, which also didn't feel very fair. So yeah, so we completely agreed. This is absolutely something that we want to get involved with. We see that this would be a benefit to our business community. So here's just an example of a couple of the days. We had loads, and I was at pretty much all of them because, like I said, I was loving it. So in the Insight Day, what would happen is the young people, the 3 real points of the day, the young people that, and it could be a whole day, it could be a morning, whatever really the business can commit to, and like Jamie said, the numbers, the ages, all of these things, the time frames, that it's all about what would suit you. And then myself, I'll work with the business, make sure it's all suiting you properly. Jamie's working with the schools and making sure they've got the minibus and they've got the kids coming and they've got the support. So we're really here to support you with it, so it doesn't feel like you've now got this great big extra work to do. The days are lovely, they really, really are. So here's some examples. There's one at National Trust here. We went into the Healy site and they're looking at historical documents here. Then the middle one, we were at Doubletree making pizzas with the chef at Doubletree. The very, very cool and high-tech control room at Network Rail in the corner. There's a picture there. And then also a very, very cool business organization called Capewell, which is their Swindon branch. The rest of Capewell, or the founding, is in America, and they're just fascinating. They have setups where they drop things like big massive boats that you can see, you might be able to see there in the background, and jeeps and things like this in the middle of nowhere. So very, very fascinating days. That and with a few of these, we've offered the day twice to reach more young people. So yeah, they've been really brilliant. Then what we did was to really evaluate the days and to look at the impact that it's had, and is what we set out to do, is that working? And genuinely, it was a resounding sort of yes. It was very, very positive. We made a whole report actually on it. We've got case studies as well of some of the days, and if anyone would like to see that, I'm more than happy to share it, because it's something we're really proud of and we think it looks brilliant. So but here's just a snippet of it, because I kind of just wanted to end in what is the benefit to businesses in getting involved in this. This is just a snippet of actually what came of last year. So we evaluated every young person, and we're not doing quite that much this time. That was the pilot. We needed to have proof that it worked. Now we know we're getting involved in it differently. But we evaluated every student, every teacher, every workplace that we went to, and really it was so positive. And yeah, which you can see there. But I'll stop sharing just so I can speak to you. But yeah, so really the benefits to the business with the insight days, particularly, let's say that the model is quite a copy and paste situation, for example. So obviously, practice what you preach. We got involved, we ran two. I think we had over 30 kids at each or something, and it was brilliant. It went really, really well. And it's quite a copy and paste situation actually, because we did that. We came up with a task to give them. So the kids, they come in, they've got to learn about your business, they've got to meet a few people with different job roles, and they've got to do a task that's relevant. And again, we can support with all of that. So our task being business support, we put on we did scenarios of real-time calls that we've had with businesses, and we've said, what would you do? What questions would you ask? What resources could you give to these businesses? We also did a professional work profile, and they found out what work profile they were, which they really, really enjoyed. But with that, the resources that we put into that, we can now actually use, and we can use those also with adults. We can use those, we can do more insight days, we can go into schools and do challenge days now. We can use those for our networking events, we can use those for visits and all sorts of days that we do in the business community as well. Also, it was a great team, it's a great team building exercise. Each time I left those days, each team that I'd worked with in each of those businesses were really buzzing. They'd really enjoyed it, really appreciated the opportunity, really felt like they'd done something valuable that day, and they were really engaged. Plus the kids, absolutely, they all loved it. I got so much good so many good testimonials from the students and from the schools as well. So you know it really did something for them. It's great for socials. The pictures are lovely. You've had a great day. It's great to shout about that as well, and the fact that you're getting involved in your community. It's great for talent pipelines. Obviously, I totally believe these local young people are going to remember the name of your organization, of your business, when they come to be looking for work in the area. And it's great to give back to your community. It counts as maybe your social responsibility, all of these things. But as actual practical, what happened and what were benefits to these businesses that I saw last year with my own eyes is that one business, they're planning on taking CVs from that group of young people that came and visited as soon as they turn old enough. Another day ended up with them, that group of young people, being a youth advisory board for that business. Another, they did a SWOT analysis with the young people. They were business students. They did a SWOT analysis, and they do SWOT analysis monthly as part of their responsibility. And the young people came up with a point that they had never thought of before. So they're literally going to put that straight in. So it's a different perspective as well. Maybe you want to know, National Trust were interested in knowing what young people thought about them as an organisation and how they could be more endearing to young people. So again, you know, it can work in that way. Plus, all of these organizations and businesses that have got involved now have lasting relationships with the schools, with the colleges, with us. They actually, I've been catching up with some of them this year, and they said, oh, I've already arranged this with the school myself. So I'm no longer needed as much, obviously. But that's really brilliant. This is our area, and it's great to be involved like that. And I could go into more, you know, the benefits of work experience and careers education on a wider scale, apprenticeships, T-levels, all of this, and that lasting impact they have for the area, for those individuals, for your business. But honestly, I think that probably everyone here wouldn't deny that, or you probably wouldn't have turned up today to learn about this. So I won't go into that too much. I think we all know that that is really, really important. And so my examples here are of the Insight Days, because that's where we concentrated our pilot last year. A challenge day would work really similarly. And we have lots of options specifically so that there will be a way that works for any business to get involved and make their mark. And yeah, so what we're going to do now, we hope that that's been interesting. We hope that has sparked some interest in each of you here. I am going to follow up with everyone that registered today individually, and send you over those sort of list of opportunities, and see, and we can arrange a chat one-to-one and see if there's anywhere in particular that you would like to explore. We can send out this recording if it's useful to share it with your networks, colleagues, anyone else far and wide, and spread the message. And yeah, and hopefully we'll see you being interested, see you wanting to get involved. If there are any questions, then please feel free to ask whilst myself, Chris and Jamie are here. But like I said, I will follow up with everyone, and hopefully that's been interesting for you today. Chris or Jamie, do you have anything else to add?
Nothing to add from me. Thank you. I think everything's been covered. And yeah, just again to extend a thank you for everyone for being curious and coming on the tour. And hopefully you'll all find something within the work experience offer that you're able to engage with. And Laura will be delighted to hear about that when she does her follow-ups with you all. So just another thank you. Yeah.
Louise has asked if the slides will be made available, so I'll send you mine so that you can share them out, Laura, when you're going out to everybody.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, thanks for asking, Louise. We'll do that. I'll put my slides, Jamie's slides together, and a bit more information that I have as well, so you've got something really clear to put in front of whoever you need to, and we can set up calls like Chris said. I would be very delighted to talk to you. I love talking about this project. I think it's really brilliant. So yeah, thank you all for coming and being interested. We really appreciate it, and I will hopefully speak to you all very soon. Thanks for joining us today.